Well, hey friends, my name is Andrea. This is Journals for Breakfast. You are so welcome here. I'm having a great summer camp. We've been talking a lot about summer camp. If you don't know what we're talking about summer camp, go a few videos back and catch up with us. But this video is very specific. It is about a new type of journaling that I have found. I fell down the rabbit hole 2 weeks ago. I've barely been heard from or seen since. I believe in my heart that this type of journaling is for absolutely everyone that loves anything: paper, journals, planners, pens, ink, watercolor, acrylics, collage, quilting, needlework, sewing, scrapbooking, stickers. Is that you? If you're here, you probably fall under all of those categories to some degree. What on earth did I discover? Okay, don't run for the hills. If your knee jerk is to run for the hills when I say this, even more emphatically, I ask you to hear me out and check out my first journal before you go running away. The words I'm going to say are solo RPG journaling. Okay, why do I think you're going to have a knee jerk reaction that makes you want to run from that? A lot of my viewers here are my age. I'm 55. Many of you are 45 to 75. And I will tell you that as a 55-year-old female, my knee jerk reaction to the words role playing game are right back to 5th grade, Dungeons and Dragons. All the boys carried around notebooks, had these crazy dice, and that's it. Dungeons and Dragons, boys, 5th, 6th, 7th, ninth grade, whatever. The next thing that I'll think about with an RPG role playing game, do you mean like a reenactment, like our neighbor who used to put on that big military regalia and go out to like war reenactments? Sure, I suppose that's a type. Also, relatively male centric. And then my husband reminded me that another role playing game was like World of Warcraft on the PC, or Might and Magic was like one of the very first ones they came out with. So, yeah, those are all cool. I can see why they're hobby oriented. I can see the lure of any of them. They never felt like anything that had anything to do with me, nor did they have anything to do with journaling. So, where's the crossover? Is simple: solo, just you, role playing game. So, you are going to create a character, an animal, a world, all of the above, and you are going to build a journal either about them or around them or by them, however you choose to do. How will you get this information? You'll buy the game. You're going to journal, you're going to role play in your little journal here. You're going to buy the game from a maker online. And so the first place that I went to hunt these down was Etsy. I'm glad I did. I found a wonderful site immediately, and that is by Megan Fuentes. And I'm putting a screenshot of her Etsy page here. She has several solo journaling role-playing games. Stop. We're going to change that on this channel. You're hearing it now, and I'm going to repeat it a few more times, and then we're just going to go with this. That is too many words for me. We're going to just call these RPJs, role-playing journals. Deal? Deal. So she has got games up there, and you can choose games like you are a mermaid, you are a fairy, you are a witch. What you will purchase with this game is a PDF download. I think this one was 21 pages, thereabouts, and you'll print it out on your computer. Voiceover Andrea here. I am featuring Megan Fuentes, that's her page, but I'm also featuring Amber Celine with a throwback high school theme in this video. These are both Etsy makers who are selling these wonderful games for $5 a piece. And I love what's going on with Megan, but if the fairy witch thing isn't you, she does have other options. They're not all witch fantasy fairy. And then Amber's is throwback high school, retro high school. How fun. So stay with us. And then it will tell you in the description before you buy it, but also within the game rules, how to play, what you're going to need to play the game. Often it is a deck of standard playing cards or a standard dice. Sometimes it's a specialty dice, like a 10-sided dice. You'll print out this PDF, and this brilliant writer will explain to you how to play your game and what you're going to do. The one that I bought is The Witch, and what you're basically doing with this particular game, which this is my handout, it's quite a few pages, of which I obviously won't share because it's paid for, but $5. It's the best $5 I've ever spent in my life. She tells you that what you're basically building here is a grimoire or a spell book. And so you're going to have to figure out who you are. Are you the witch? In my case, I am. What is my name? And what is my aesthetic? And then there is a page-and-a-half quiz that you just fill out, and you could fill this out like your own answers, the way me, Andrea, would fill out this quiz, true to my own heart, or the way that I perceive my character might fill out this quiz. And that will help us determine what category of witch they are. I am an all-seeing witch. So then I go to another game page, and it will explain to me that for an all-seeing witch, what we're going to use in this game is a deck of standard cards to create your spells. These are what diamonds represent, clubs represent, spades represent, hearts represent. So King of Diamonds represents something yellow. I mean, I don't, these vary with how they go. And you'll go from there. You guys, I printed this thing out. The first question was, what's your name? And I was lost for 2 hours Googling the meaning of women's names. I will tell you, I came up with Alva Sage Hugo. She is an all-seeing and all-knowing witch. That name has meaning. I'm going to share that with you as we go through the Alva Chronicles on this channel, because we absolutely will be going through those. So the first thing I did was figure out who my character was. And then from there, I sort of dug around my stash of journals and started figuring out where I wanted to keep some of this information, what I wanted to do. I will have you know that I printed this out and played this game, meaning answered questions about my aesthetic or excuse me, my character, started developing her in my head, answered the quiz, figured out what kind of magic she does. I worked on this for 2 weeks before I ever pulled the first card out of a deck of cards. Just the writing prompt alone was so engaging to my mind that I just went nuts. I had so much fun. I don't know what the mermaid one looks like, but I'm sure it's really cool. Her Megan Fuentes is her space, and she also has some $2 ones that are either faster play, so just a shorter little concept for you, or I used it as an add-on. The $2 add-on that I bought, we pull oracle cards, and you know me, I have lots of decks of oracle cards, so I was able to pull in from even more of my supplies and keeps this game going with another little side quest on it. But the point is, get started for $5 on one of those basic packages, print it out, and then I'm going to show you the things that I've been doing. What have I been doing if I haven't been writing about this character, which I have been? I mean, I've been filling in basic questionnaires, information, things like that. But what I have had so much fun doing is building an aesthetic of what I want her. This is her grimoire, is her spell book, this beautiful journal I had in my stash. This was a gift to me this year, and I hadn't used it yet. Can you imagine? The one that I'm building is kind of like her version of a scrapbook. It's got some of the history of her family. It's got photos of her family when they were younger. It's got family names and what they mean. It's going to have their timeline from birth, etc. It's also going to have some basic formulas for spells that Alva uses, things like that. This is kind of a get to know Alva, and that's what I've been using it for. It hasn't required me, honestly, to hardly write a word. I've just been using watercolors, stickers, stamping, the collage pages that we did in the last video. Those script pages are already in here. I have pulled so many supplies from this craft room that never ends and found a million uses for them in this style of role-playing journaling, more so than I have in the last 5 years of hardcore journaling and 2.5 years of running this channel. I have pulled in tools I haven't used in ages. It is so enjoyable. And that is really why I wanted you to stick around, at least for this much of it, to just say, kind of suspend that disbelief, let go of that. What is this, like 10-year-old boys? No, come on, this is us. Jump in. I think that women over 50 are going to go bananas for this. I'm going to tell you why. Because we are the ones who really know how to build a character. We actually know what makes people tick, makes people function. We know a lot about good and bad and right and wrong. And we know why people end up hurt and angry. And I think we can have so much fun playing with what we can create with that. Part two, we are the women that have these craft rooms that are bursting with stuff to use. And now you have a place to use it. I promise you, you have a place to put this stuff in a journaling game format. You're going to use those crafts. That scrapbook closet, you've been looking at those supplies. You've been looking at that Cricut for years going, I don't want to get rid of them, but I don't know how to use them. This is how you're going to use them. Be glad you didn't get rid of them, because you now have a place to put all of those supplies. I'm not kidding. What else did I want to tell you about this? The other thing is, you don't need to be a good writer, because unlike me, who's here sharing all of this with you, you're going to keep this very much to yourself. No one is ever going to critique your character development. No one's ever going to tell you there's a plot hole. It doesn't matter. You get to make this up as you go. And I think women our age are just jonesing for this kind of just absolute creative outlet that is so freeing. Also, we've talked here so many times about, we take watercolor classes to be more creative, but then we get locked into the final product. Is the painting any good? And all this stuff starts to come with it. Who cares? You're making spells in a journal for a witch. Who knows what you're doing with the mermaid or the fairy? This isn't for scrutiny. This isn't for final judgment. These aren't going to be put out for publication. This is just for you to have fun. Can I sound more emphatic? I'm so excited. Let's do some overhead. I'm going to show you what I've been doing with Miss Alva so far. Then I've got another RPJ that a friend of mine wrote and has published on Etsy. I'm going to give you her information. We're going to do a tour of hers because it's a completely different storyline, and I'm just as jacked about it. I'm so excited. It's going to be a fun video. You stuck around this long, go grab you something cold to drink. If you're on the other side, go grab you something hot to drink, and let's take a look at what I've been doing with what we are now calling RPJs. You heard it here first. RPJs, role-playing journals. Let's go. Okay, I'm so excited to introduce you to Alva, my witch. Okay, I'm going to show you little blips from Megan's handout. You will, as I said, spend $5 to print out this PDF. It is the best $5 I've ever spent. And Amber's that I'm showing you is also $5. And so I'm going to just show you some little blips without giving you real information here. But again, you're making kind of this grimoire or spell book, or however you want to let that inspire you. I've decided, like I said, to make this kind of a who Alva is. So there will be spells in here, but kind of formulaic, like what she loves to work with. You'll identify your familiar and your gifts. You'll get some information on setting up. These are full page pieces of information about your witchcraft. What's the source of your magic? How did you discover your powers? There's just these great prompts to get your mind working. This is a quiz that you'll take that's going to help you figure out who you are, what your powers are. And like I said, you could answer that literally playing the part of the character you're creating. Is your character mischievous? Is your character vengeful? Is your character things that you aren't? Or do you want your character to really represent your picks, etc.? That's totally up to you. And have I mentioned that you could make 1,000 characters with that one handout with your $5? Yeah, I've made Alva, but I've also made a whole family for Alva because I wanted a backstory for her, and I wanted more information to play with as I go down the road. So this is a journal that my friend Paula gave me this year, and it's just so cool and beautiful. And I think as journalers, we often have journals in our stash they haven't quite figured out what to do with. I will also say, do you have journals that have 3 pages filled out and then you lost your mojo on whatever you were doing in that journal? Me too. I do it all the time. No shame there. Go grab a straight edge, an X-Acto blade or something like that. Go into that journal and cut those 3 pages out, fold them up, write on them what they were journaling about, and tuck them into something else and get your journal back, FYI. But this one, I had it messed with. I knew I would find, excuse me, a perfect home for it, and I did. So y'all remember very well my attempts at junk journaling were so messed up, but I learned a lot. So this is some of the paper from our scribble paper that we did in the last video. There's actually a little tutorial in there if you want to try to make this paper. And I just glued 3 sides down and let it dry and gave myself a pocket on this front page. Then I created an aged out envelope that was so much fun. I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm so excited to show this to y'all. What I want to tell you about this journaling style. Remember, I just said in the opening, I went crazy before I ever wrote anything other than deciding who Alva was, giving her a name. I decided where she lived. That was important to me. And I decided what kind of witch she is. She comes from a family of witches who are focused on healing and nature, basically. That's the short story. So you're going to see a lot of nature themes in here and herb themes and things like that. They're healers and yeah, they use a lot of herbs and are really in tune with nature. And they use a lot of their powers to cure nature as well. So she lives in the Glen. I decided that is essentially in Wales. So I put UK. And so I aged out this envelope. To make this envelope, I got to use our Scribble signature paper. I got to watercolor. I got to punch out a stamp with my stamp cutter. I got to use actual stamps, stamp. This is a fold up envelope that came out of a flow paper book, which we've seen here many times before. So that is stamping, watercolor, collage, flow paper book, paper cutouts. You get what I'm going at here? 5 of my crafting things showed up just in making this envelope. I am in love. Hang on, let me go help my dog. Hold on. Okay. So sorry. It's the early morning, so we just got back from our walk and he wants to go out in the yard and sniff around. So the next thing that I did was create a map of where she lives. I will tell you that making this map was really fun. I got to watercolor and sketch. I got to try my hand at creating an overhead view of a homestead. In making the map, I figured out that there's some characters that live nearby, so I had to give them some places to live. This is my attempt at some mountains and a little forest back here. So what I'll say about this map making is, again, I got to age paper, I got to watercolor, I got to sketch, I got to use all my tools. I just had so much fun. And I used some stencils that are technically meant for like laying out yard work, or excuse me, landscapes and housescapes. But they were on a super sale during that Prime sale recently. And so I grabbed that pack of stencils is what I'm trying to say. And so I was able to use stencils for some things like the tops of these trees. Let me see if I can get that in there for you. Yeah, so those were stencils of like little bush shapes, and I just layered them up to make the tops of the trees. So the map just became kind of my way to sort of formulate and tell a story for myself too. So like Duncan's hay, Duncan is her donkey. Bess's barn, which you can barely read. Bess is her dairy cow. This is her little orchard, her house, her woodpile, her fields. Up in the sea, I put a rock hunter's beach, and then Crystal Cove. I mean, a witch needs a place to hunt crystals, right? And collect them, forage them, I guess is what I mean. The map just became a form of storytelling for me. It just allowed me to just sort of build the story for myself. Kind of where she lives, nestled into this valley between the sea, this forest, and then these sort of low mountain range here. Off to the south, there's a pond that runs off from spring water from these mountains, and another family of farmers this way. Her being a witch is kind of an open secret, so we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it just became this sort of storytelling thing for me. And So it's just where I started, but I think everybody will find a different place, like having fun with just looking up what is a woman's name that means magic? What is a woman's name that means fairy? You know, things like that to just sort of spark your interest and get the idea going. But for me, I did all of that and wanted a map of sorts. So that's kind of the map story. And I am really loving how it did sort of drive the narrative for me and kind of help me make some choices about Alva and where she lives and how she's spending her time. So here's a good example of just paint and stamps to just age some pages. And I have decided to make a little rough draft, if you will, of a family album for our character Alva. And so I have her mom, Diana, and she has two sisters, Lily and Althea. We also have a gran who is an Althea. So she's named after our grandmother. And then these two sisters had daughters. Althea had Diana and Sophie, and Lily had Flora. They will also have dads, obviously. So the husbands, which will be their husbands, will come into this at some point, and I'm probably just going to be using washi tape to give us some images of our husbands. Who knows? But we're going to get into my dad and our gran and grandpa also down the road. So those guys are there as well. I found these in stash. I have had these for so long and just never really figured out what to do with them. I just thought they were so cool. These journals are going to be probably devoted to building a storyline about the men in the family. So Lily's husband, Diana's husband, and probably our dad. How about that? So those will be journals for the guys down the road. Let's see what else I have. A friend of mine brought me this gorgeous journal from Norway, and I haven't used it. I have had stage fright on it a little bit because it's such a precious gift that I didn't want to wreck it. But this is probably going to be Flora's journal, the niece, but it also might be her mom's. They are naturalists, so this paper is this really amazing paper. Like, it would take watercolor beautifully, but also I think I could press flowers in here. It just has the feeling to me of a naturalist journal. So that's going to be used for one of the gals. I've had this since the 90s. The story of an Edwardian lady, but it's got some really cool plates and stuff in there. I think this might be Gran's journal. And I think I'll probably just take pages out as I go and use them in other things, but keep a lot of them in here as part of Gran's story as well. And we will keep this chronicle going. I will keep doing my videos on this channel for our basic journaling as we always do. I'm not going to change that, but I will be adding more videos, and you will see the videos that are linked into this will be referred to as such. They will be the RPJ and then chronicles of either my character and then the character's name, you know, Alva or Flora or whomever I choose for the high school character, etc. I hope you guys are excited as I am. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at a solo journaling RPG game. We are forever now referring to that as RPJ, role playing journals. And this particular one is totally locked in, as in, like, totally locked in, dude, after school special. And this is a printable PDF download from Etsy shop for $5. And I want to mention the printing of this is simple. I am so bad with computer stuff and finding downloads that I've purchased and things like that. And it was a flash. This was so simple to do. And totally locked in, after school special, RPJ. And this one is by Always Amber. And you will find her on Etsy as Always Amber Selene, Selene. But I'm going to link her below as well. And then I'm also going to leave at the end of this video these codes. Okay. and you'll be able to just scan them with your phone and go directly to as well. Amber is an author. She writes actual books. This is her first game, but I'm going to read to you her description about this particular one and see what you think here. I think it's so much fun. So, welcome to Totally Locked In After School Special. This is a solo journaling RPG that takes you through an immersive experience with a fun 80s, 90s theme. I'm going to give you a sneak peek here of some of the 80s, 90s theme that you can consider through her. Some of you will recognize these theme items very, very quickly. And let's see, enter a world where you are locked in your high school and taken through an immersive throwback with cliche nostalgia threaded throughout. Great for RPG game lovers, journalers, creatives, book lovers, writers, and more. Simply download the PDF and print. You can utilize journaling pages that are in the PDF, or you can use your own journal. And she is doing some upgrade packages, which is what I have in front of me as well, that have the option to purchase a Totally Locked In A5 hardback journal. So you have some choices there, as well as a pencil case, as well as a bonus box of ephemera for the diehards like myself. What the $5 PDF is this bad boy. Obviously, we put it into a folder. Yours will just be a printout. And because this is essentially a paid for pattern, as I mentioned in my knitting podcast, I'm not going to show you details from within the printout, but you can see that it is substantial. And I will tell you that one little teaser to this is that the way that you're going to play this particular game, and some of them, as we've talked about, are dice, some of them are playing cards, some of them are even oracle cards or tarot cards. This particular one, your game tool is a cootie catcher or fortune teller, whichever you referred that to in your school. We called them fortune tellers. Cootie catchers was pretty popular. I'm going to give you a super sneak peek without giving away the pattern. She gives you a cootie catcher in cut out and fold format with instructions on how to do it. So you're going to build your own, and then this is how you're going to do your gameplay. You're going to use this guy, and I'll have him built up at some point before we get there. But anyway, super exciting. Totally Locked In After School Special. Now, I will also share that Amber happens to be a local. She lives here where I live, and she happens to be a friend. So while I did buy this PDF and highly recommend it, she bonused me the bonuses because she really wanted somebody who's a journaler, who's going down this path and really using these tools to try out what she was putting together as her bonus materials. So not only is it a gift to me, but it is a bit of a test run for her. So I think we both benefit from that. So let's take a look at what the bonus materials are on this one. Right now, what's available on Etsy is the PDF. So get started with that. And I'm also going to show you my own Get Started package until this is available. And then if you want to upgrade when she decides to go this way, you can. So one thing is the Totally Locked In After School Special notebook. And FYI, this artwork is Amber's. Amber is a writer and an artist. She makes the most wonderful candles. She does a lot of really cool 3D print ephemera to go with her books and various things. So when you see things, 9 out of 10 times she's made them, but the artwork on this Totally Locked In is hers. It's kind of like a vegan leather, somewhere between, gosh, what else would I call this? Feels a little, what is that material I'm thinking of? Like rain jacket. I feel like this would be waterproof, which would be handy for a high schooler, that's for sure. And it's a undated, ready to go journal / planner. So you'll decide based on what path you take with your gameplay, how you want to use this. I already know personally that this is probably going to be a dear diary of my character, because I have other notebooks that I'm going to use for gameplay, if that makes sense. And I'll show you those. So gorgeous dear diary for my character, ready to go. Another bonus. And you can buy these all separately. When she has these all listed, you'll be able to buy the whole package, or you can buy bits and pieces. So this is a clear pencil case. And what made that look like it had a design is that there's a sheet of stickers here, but the Totally Locked In is on the cover. Jelly bracelets, because how could we possibly play a game in the 80s without these? Sticky notes, Post-its, perfect. Cassette tape keychain, of course, you need something to hang off of your backpack. The everything pen, I mean, do you remember just the delight of the clicking? So good. A mechanical pencil, because everybody had to have a number 2 in some format pencil. Little rainbow clips. Check it out. This is an Amber piece. She did these on her 3D printer. So this is a locker door. So you could use this as a bookmark or a page marker in your book to sort of keep where you're going. But this kind of tool will work really nicely. Obviously, I'm going to just make an example here as a straight edge. Zoop, if I'm trying to get some straight lines, do some bullet journaling or something like that. So it works really well for that. But I also like this kind of thing for doing some really clean. This is an old sticky note of mine that has writing on it. Really clean paper tearing. It just gives you an edge to pull and you can get a really clean edge on it. So handy tool for the journalers, but also just such fun. It's a locker door. Also in this are 2 composition notebook die cuts. You can do what you want to do with these. Really fun. And then, of course, you got to get gold stars and etc. So clear, you could certainly insert some images into this, and it's got the Totally Locked In on the back side as well. So front, back, whatever, either way, so much fun. So a clear pencil case, which is super exciting. And then the bonus ephemera box for the journalers like myself. Really fun idea. I think we all know the value of getting the extra ephemera. It's always fun stuff. And look at what is in this box for your 80s or 90s themed adventure. Okay, so first of all, she's got a pen that writes on like laminated pages and things like that, and then you can wipe it back down. Then she's got a clicker clacker for those of us who like such a thing, and it is a Blockbuster video. That's it. It's a Blockbuster video. This will make a little bit of sense to you when you get your PDF printed out. This, do you remember the pocket pets? Such a cool thing. By the way, this is Amber's art as well. She did 3D prints these, and she did these gorgeous things. Look at the details on that. And this obviously is not a functioning one, but you can put the photo of choice here, and then you can just use a little bit of glue and glue your back into place, and then you'll have the photo of your favorite pocket pet. But you don't have to actually put in a battery and keep up with it, because none of us ever bothered to, did we? Okay, Totally Locked In after school special vinyl sticker. You can put this on your water bottle or your cup or whatever you're carrying around. What did we carry around? Did we even drink water yet? I love the checker washi. Why was checkers such a thing in the 80s? I have no idea, but it was such a big deal. Every time I see it, I still think of the 80s. And then a cool bookmark envelope, some cool, just simple ephemera for you to decorate as you would like as you go through. But you got to have a bookmark, glue stick to get some stuff together. And then here are some things that you can decorate with. There's this awesome pack of stickers. These are all originals to Amber. She designed them and printed them. Sorry, I'm cutting this package open in real time, of course, because that's how I roll. Boy, I pull this and show you some of these cool stickers. And I'm going to put this little card down so you can kind of see. Look at all the stickers in here. Just such, just so 80s. Look at that. Can you see that? I'm going to bring that up close and make sure. Look at that. How 80s is that? And I just threw them onto the envelope. I didn't even do anything with them. There's cassette tape in here. Trying to think of some of the other stuff I saw in her prototype stuff, but just really cool. Walkman with headphones. Really, really fun. A lot of lightning bolts, because that was the thing. Why? I don't know. It was the 80s. We were crazy. Okay. And then this pretty tissue paper, which, as you know, journalers will be using that. And then she gives you these really great papers that have this kind of 80s vibe. So again, the sort of lightning bolt with gold stars on rainbow. This gives me such Rainbow Bright vibes. And everything was just bright at that time, right? And then all the graphics that came in. And this is some really nice cardstock paper. So you'll get random selections of these. And could you get more 80s than this piece of paper if you tried? So all your ephemera is there in the bonus pack. And I think that's just so much fun. So she'll get those updated and prices on those for you. She's got some in-person events, markets that she's taking the first round of these too. But the PDF, as I've said many times, is available right this minute on the Etsy page. Now let me show you. I'm going to lay this piece of paper out, and I'll show you what I bought myself to do a bit of this journaling in as well. And it starts with, any guesses? That's right, a Trapper Keeper. So the minute Amber contacted me and said she was doing one of these and her theme was going to be 80s, 90s high school, I went to Amazon and ordered a Trapper Keeper. Like literally that hour, immediately. It was here in moments. But look at the theme that I picked, because I have been such a Project Hail Mary fan this year. So I love kind of the space thing. But man, this like neon graphics in a video game sort of theme, that was so popular when I was in high school. I would have definitely gone for something like this. So then now look at this paper that she provides too. I mean, are we on the same page or what? Isn't that funny? Okay, so Trapper Keeper, and in this I have a different RPJ. Okay, I've got 2 zipper bags into which I put, let me get some of this glare off of here for you. Okay, I think that's better. I had so much glare in here. Everything from the 80s was so plastic. Okay, so I've got gel pens and colored pencils, and then just a bunch of clicky, silly pens. I think some of these are even scented, but yeah, just clicky pens like I would have loved. Not that I don't love them now. So I ordered the Trapper Keeper and 2 of these pockets, and then it came with the Trapper Keeper portfolio pocket, 2 of them, one in black, one in yellow. And then this clippy in the back, remember that thing? And then I also got these notebooks. Remember these? Okay, journalers, I want to tell you something. I have mentioned on this channel many times that I've been a lifelong journaler. This is what I would journal in high school. I would just go to town. I don't even know if I dated anything, but I would fill stacks of these with kind of Dear Diary, sort of high school angst stuff. Just get things off your chest. So yeah, I thought these would be perfect for this. So a couple of college rule notebooks in various colors. And then let's see what else I grabbed. Beads galore. I got to get myself some charms made, probably some bracelets, but I definitely need a few charms, maybe even some pencil charms, something like that. So I'll have to do a little research, learn how to get those made, but letters and numbers. So we'll have some good fun with those finds. Okay, sorry, camera jumped there, but I had to move things around. This Trapper Keeper is enormous. So I have her print out in one of those clear snap folders. You could also just do like what I keep my knitting patterns in, which is just a pocket like this as well. So that would work, and you could just clamp it into the binder. What I'm going to do with this, because I've learned already from my very first one, is I'm really not going to be writing in this, to be honest with you. This is just my reference booklet. So I'm going to tuck it into this pocket here just to keep it safe and kind of out of the way, because what I'll really be doing is referencing that on occasion and then going to town with my actual journaling. And I just won't need that booklet available to me all the time for that. This is a Trapper Keeper. What we love about it is it traps and keeps. So we're gonna put this in here Put this in here. We're gonna put our pencil bags over. And remember, the whole point was that flexible binder and the Velcro to hold it down. I'm already excited. Y'all, come on. That is too fun. So there is my Trapper Keeper. This is going to be a new character for me, and I will definitely keep updating you with the Chronicles of as it goes. But I just wanted to show you that collection to get started. Okay, obviously, I'm pretty excited about this concept. I had to edit this video down and edit it down for days just to get it to where it is now. But I'm definitely going to continue doing videos about these. It'll just say RPJ Chronicles of, and it'll be a character name. So you kind of can follow along with what I'm doing. And so I have a couple of questions for you now as we wrap this up. One, have I convinced you? Are you in? Are you going to try this? Please let me know in the comments if you decide to go spend $5 on one of these sites and get yourself an RPJ and let me know. Part two, maybe you started one of these and kind of got stuck somewhere or sort of lost your mojo on it, or like, why did I think this was going to be the thing? I'm hoping this video might recharge some interest in people who got an RPJ going and then let it go. So let's feed off of each other's enthusiasm for this. And the next thing is, if you are going to get started on this, or if you have one you've put aside and you are feeling like maybe your mojo's coming back from my excitement, do you want some tips? Do you want some tutorials? My last video I called Brain Reset because we're really still digging into the summer camp and the impact of a want to do list versus a to do list for the summer. But within that video is a tutorial on how to do the script pages for scrapbooking, and it doesn't say that, right? Like there's nothing to let you know that there's a tutorial embedded into that video. Do you want me to do some tutorial type stuff towards general journaling, but also towards this RPJ journaling, and we could have maybe some vids just focused on that? Then my next question is, if we're going to do that, should we build a space that allows for communication and community in a way that YouTube does not? Here you can leave me a comment and I can reply and we can just feed off of those threads, but it's tricky. You know that as a user, I know it as a user. If you would like to get another space going that is more of a community about this, RPJs or tutorials or journaling in general, my question for you is simply a one word in the comments. If it's all you want to put in there, do you want me to build a private group on Facebook, or do you want me to build a private group on Discord? I have used Discord many times for private groups in, say, like knit-alongs and that kind of thing. I was test knitting for a designer, and her test knits were always held in Discord. It's very simple to use according to me. I am not great with apps. I'm not great with new software, and I had no trouble with Discord. So let me know if you'd like for me to get that going. I wanted to show you that I got my game piece put together for the high school game. And I decorated a notebook yesterday morning with some coffee. Do you know what I figured out about this high school one? There's so many things about it that are fun. Here's one thing: the artwork should be lousy. This is a high school notebook. Like, I shouldn't be a master sketch artist. So my Rubik's Cube is wonky. That's kind of a cassette tape. Like, the fact that it's not great sketching is making this notebook feel all the more high schooly to me. And then I did this little open page. Do you see this doodle here? That doodling, every notebook, every textbook that you couldn't then trade in, that like you had to buy them and they were just going to be yours, has this doodle all over the margins. That was my signature space out doodle in high school. So I added some of that to that. It's really fun. I'm going to get into more detail. I do want to mention more detail in future videos about this character and how this goes. I'm so excited. Amber Celine has put together a discount code for viewers of Journals for Breakfast. It's J4B10. She'll be offering 10% off. I'm putting this video up on Saturday. I don't know what the date is, y'all. It's July 18th. On Sunday, July 19th, Amber will have the bonus materials I showed you loaded onto her Etsy page as well. She's done with her markets for this week. And so what she has left of those in stock, she's going to put up. So if you wanted to do the big full package like I got to do, you can get 10% off of that. And that's really great. So J4B10. That code will be in the description as well as the link to her. Sorry, my computer just kicked on. And Megan Fuentes, I have her link directly below as well. Hold on. Sorry, my computer kicked in. Yeah, Megan Fuentes is linked below as well. So definitely go check her out. Like I said, it's not just fairies and mermaids and witches. She has, I think there's a library one. She has several to look at. It's been fun. I'll keep the conversation going. I will update you on summer camp. Yeah, that's it. It's been really fun. And I can't wait to hear in the comments what you think. Did I jazz you up? Are you in Discord or Facebook for another group community session? Let's get it going. It's been so fun putting this together with you guys. I can't wait to see what we do. Have a great week.